Most people say you can't time the market. I say you have to. I'm Scott Redler, Chief Strategic Officer for T3 Live. I would like to invite you to an exclusive swing trading event in Newport Beach, California on Saturday, February 23rd. Students will learn the 5 keys to becoming a successful swing trader and how to navigate the market using what I call a portfolio approach when it's conducive in the market. Reserve your seat at t3live.com or call our toll-free number 1-888-99-T3Live. Good afternoon, Scott Redler, T3 Live. I'm going to give another Apple update. It is Friday. I haven't done this one like this in the past week. I've tried to keep everyone updated on the potential action. I know it's been lately, it's been a little bit more constructive. We finally had a little bit of a tradable move last week, but it really wasn't much. And for those thirsting for a long on Apple, we had a 3-4 day trade, and now we're consolidating. We're trying to figure out what's next. If you go back to the chart to see what you could have seen for educational purposes, you take a look here. This stock is approachable in every time frame. I know right around here when the stock hit its high, 700, every major wirehouse was saying 800, 900, 1,000, blah, blah, blah. P.S. If you remember, right when we broke the 21-day, that was when I was on Mad Money, and I said we just went from a swing hold, which was really nice as we followed the 8 and 21-day, to take it day by day. We could test the 50-day. Tested the 50-day, little lethargic bounce, we wound up going lower, and then from this we broke a trend line that was in place from May, broke below it, and then we just fell the entire way down. Finally, a little tradable move, that little red dog reversal, gave us a week and a half or a 2-week move back up to the trend line. You saw a nice red dog reversal, you saw appetite. What was important here is we held higher, so we were judging this along the way. Then all of a sudden, it should not have broken this area if it was going to change. Came right back down, came into the new year, nice little descending channel, if you guys remember, was a nice trade, wound up gapping up. We talked about if this level couldn't hold, it's just a trade. Then from there, you wind up having the earnings that were pretty lackluster, and here's where we are right now. So if you take a closer look, this is what I'm looking at, because at this point, everyone wants to make their guesses on what Apple's going to do. For me, this was a nice trade. If you guys remember, I was in here on the morning call of the recap. It kind of blasted off, engulfed 2 days, and we talked about it potentially filling the gap above 465.73. It wound up giving you a lethargic but tradable move back to retest. Remember the pivot we talked about, the pre-earnings pivot low, which was right around here before coming in. And now we're consolidating in a very inside fashion. So with that said, you come back to me, there's a lot of things that I'm going to be looking for next week. First of all, unfortunately, we don't have the shareholder meeting until not this Wednesday, coming up the Wednesday thereafter. So it could be another quiet week of a little back and forth news releases, so to speak, from the media or people jibber-jabbering. What I like that's constructive is I like that Greenlight bought more shares. You also had Appaloosa buy more shares. Some guys sold some, but the ones that didn't sell strength are accumulating down here. And at some point, if it gets cheaper, they're going to become activists, just like you saw Einhorn do. With that said, you also got the Bloomberg article about the potential watch with 100 programmers. I think that's interesting. I'm also going to be listening to see if we get one of those invitation-only events, which probably doesn't happen before the shareholder meeting, but happens after, that could introduce one of their new potential products, whether it's the watch, whether it's a TV. But all in all, right now, as far as the technicals, it's in a very interesting spot. You go back to this chart here and you will see, we are approaching an area that I do think should hold. Anyone from an intermediate level or approach should probably say they want to see this 463-ish area hold in order to show some commitment to the move off the lows. If that were the case, I do think there'll be a better chance of breaking this descending trend line, which has been in control of the stock. But really, this tells everything. Boom. Every time we've gone up to this trend line, we've failed, and we failed to hold higher. This time, it'll be interesting to see, can we hold 463? And if so, that raises the probability that maybe we finally get a move above this. For me, I'm just approaching it day by day. This was your first nice little 3-4 day move that we had here. If we were to break this 463.22, I think some fast money guys will get out of the way again. And then you have right here, what is this? This is about 452. If we start getting down to 452, I think the pressure will be on, and that if you don't see a news release, people are going to really start to lose some faith. I'd love to see it hold above here. I'd love to see, some guys come out, some more activists, and see some type of move to break this downtrend. But at this point, Apple has a lot to prove. There are people who are putting out projections out there. They're saying, Apple's going to have a 3 handle. You know what? It might. But let the stock tell us that. I do think there's a decent chance that the rally we saw last week can have some commitment, but there's no reason to make some big bets. If you want to be involved just in case overnight or whatnot, put on a call spread. This way you can be involved if any news comes out or whatnot. But ultimately, being in your seat, listening up, and knowing what to hear has been making traders some money. When I was in my seat and I heard about the Apple saying they were going to entertain Einhorn's comments or whatnot later that afternoon, it was a great trade, and then it continued. So listen to see what's going on out there. Right now, the price action is a little lethargic because we have some time between the shareholder meeting and now. I wouldn't overtrade it. I wouldn't do too much. Keep your eyes on it. I hope 463 holds. If it doesn't, I'm probably just going to be out of the way. I'm going to wait until we get a little bit closer. And overall, it's been a painful, situation or time period for investors that ignored the technicals, for investors that didn't sell when it broke the 21-day or the 50-day or the 100-day or the 200-day. And remember, the rule was if it goes below the 200-day and doesn't recapture it within 2 days, chances are it continues in that direction. It's not a sell trap. It's actually that weak. Well, that's how weak Apple's been. So at this point, take the emotions out of the trade. No need to have big projections on both sides. The stock will tell us which way it's going to go. It's still broken. It still has a lot to prove. I would just trade it both ways until we have a bit more clarity. Have a great weekend. I'll see you on actually Tuesday. Have a nice holiday as well.
It is said that you are the average of the people you associate with. I'm Mark Sperling, T3 Live contributor and director of trading at T3 Trading Group. In trading, I believe it is especially beneficial to surround yourself with smart and talented people. In that vein, T3 Live would like to invite you to a New York City headquarters on President's Day, Monday, February 18th, from 4 to 7 p.m. for an exclusive networking event. This informal gathering will allow you to interact with me, Scott Redler, Evan Lazarus, and other mentors from T3 Live, as well as other traders and T3 Live community members just like you. We also have 90 minutes worth of value-added trading education planned for the day. The event will include refreshments, a tour of the T3 Trading Group LLC trading floor, and a behind-the-scenes look into the T3 Live studio. Attendance will be very limited, so be sure to register early by visiting t3live.com and clicking through to the coming events calendar, or calling 1-888-998-3548 to speak to a representative. I look forward to meeting you on President's Day.